Sustainability is key. The idea has got to have longevity. It can't be just a flash in the pan. And the first thing I would say is, have you thought out about the programme, about capacity, about resources? And that's really important too, because sometimes a really brilliant idea just isn't good enough. Other times, a really, really good idea won't just stand on its own. And being able to sign people and network people to other people who can help is really key. And thirdly, just not being precious about what you do. I love my job. I love Hill Holt Wood. I spent 10 years living in a caravan without water or electricity, so I must do. But what's really important to me is that Hill Holt Wood survives, and it survives way beyond me. So succession planning is really important, and surrounding yourself with people who can make a difference.
I think just do it. Just do it. I think we can procrastinate for quite a while and think, oh no, maybe we shouldn't, sort of all find all the reasons. But actually, it can begin from something really small, and that actually if you've got the passion, then you can make it work.
First off, you need to be doing something that you have some love for, interest for, real interest for, that you actually, for whatever reason, is something that matters to you. Second off, you need to actually have the skills or acquire the skills to be able to do what it is you want to do. This is all about not being a dreamer. It's about actually making sure that you have or can acquire the skills. You also need to make sure that there is a demand for what you want to do. And all of these things are ways of determining whether or not this will be a hobby or a way of making a living. Now, this is market research in any other way, although perhaps the difference with a sort of capitalist enterprise would be the creation of demand, maybe for products that aren't really needed. But we'd say, look, with a social enterprise, it's going to be meeting a real need or a real demand, also making sure that the people to whom you wish to sell your goods or your services can afford them, have the resources, whether it's about funding that's available or whether it's your potential customers. No point in going out there, opening your shop window, metaphorically speaking, if no one around wants or can afford what you have. Other key thing for me is making sure that you've got a team around you, people who will keep you going when you run up against the inevitable discouragements. You try to do this on your own, it is really, really tough. You can easily get depressed. Most of us, couldn't sail across the Atlantic on our own. I mean, the special people can do that, but mostly I find having people around me is really important. Also, cultivating or finding allies on the inside of the sorts of structures you're going to need to deal with, whether it's local authority, somebody who will be your advocate, whether it's with a local voluntary sector organisation, whether it's with a company that you wish to work with. It makes such a difference if you're not just on the outside knocking on the door, but if you have somebody on the inside who's saying, hey, let's open up for this guy. I know them and we like them. Those allies, those friends in high places are really important, I find.
The best advice I could give to people is if deep down in you've got something that you've got to do, you should do it. You should be willing to sacrifice a year or two of your life, even if it goes wrong. If it goes right, it'll be wonderful. And if it doesn't go right, well, you've tried. And, you won't die having not achieved an ambition.
I needed to learn that when you're dealing with government bodies and agencies and local authorities, that the anecdotal evidence just isn't enough. And all the do-gooding in the world really just isn't enough. And that if you, with your business head on you, if you present them with a business plan and idea. Now, my plan was around an ancient oak tree, which is 100 years old, so that took a bit of them getting used to. But I think it is really important to learn how to use the language. And that's where capitalising on partnerships, I think, has really stood me to good stead. Getting involved with the local university, getting involved with the local education authorities, getting people on board to understand who you are. What's key to entrepreneurship is what you bring to the table as your own being. And you should never lose sight of that, because that's what makes it different.
So trying to make a social change, whether it be to individuals or families or villages, it's not that easy, and you have to really listen and find out what else has been going on before and what other people have tried and what's worked and what hasn't worked. And sometimes you're going to get disappointed, and sometimes you think it's a great idea and it doesn't work. And that's actually fine because you're learning from those mistakes and that's what helps you grow forward.
I think a range of skills that social entrepreneurs need. There's the business skills to actually set up and manage and run a business, but also perhaps more subtle skills around a nuanced approach to running the social enterprise. Be sure that this is what you want to do. I would see it as a social enterprise journey, so it can take a lot of time, even really in the pre-startup phase. So even before you've started to put anything to paper, it can take a long time. But if that's what you do, absolutely believe in it. It's got to be the passion, the mission. That's what drives you forward, especially when things perhaps aren't working out so well. I would also suggest that they get the right kind of advice from various networks and supporters and agencies that are out there. So there are a load of bodies that can provide direct hands-on support to help get that social enterprise up and running.